Hiya, and welcome back to Sylving, the game that teaches us that he is a solid 9.3 out of 10. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Yeah, it's not a toilet, it's a washing machine. Ah, fuck, I'm scared. I haven't. My slumber is interrupted by a band of sunlight, breaking through the shutters and draping over my eyes. Opening one of them, I squint and glance across the room, trailing the light to the far wall. My eyes slowly adjust to the dim lighting, and I give a depressed sigh after finding myself in the same room as before. It was restless all night. I grunt in discomfort, feeling somewhat sore from all the tossing and turning. The madness of this whole situation has been eating away at me. I lay awake for who knows how long last night, just running everything in my head over and over again, but never arriving at any answers. I sit up and look down at my hands, still covered in fur. I was hoping to wake up in my own body again somehow, but of course, I'm not that lucky. Please let me know when there's a penis on screen. Feeling heavy and groggy, I roll my shoulders and stretch my arms up, letting out a big, miserable yawn. Sleeping with the tail is such a hassle too. I can feel the lump pressing against my lower back all night. How do these people even sleep with these things? I want to try and just get a bit more sleep, but nature is calling and it's been days since I've used the restroom. Kicking my legs over the side of the bed, I lean forward and take a moment to wake up. I'll need to take it slow. I don't want a repeat of yesterday and end up falling again. Yay. I pull myself to my feet, keeping my stance wide and arms out to aid my balance. It's not exactly graceful, but it's good enough for me, all things considered. Stepping out of the room, I notice there's another door to my right. Grab the handle and give it a jiggle. Locked. Can't be the bathroom. Oh, we have a choice. Yay! Yay! It must be downstairs, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. Fuck off, Reddit. The shutters are closed, darkening the room. The only light source are the slits of morning sun peeking through. I look around, but the big wolf is nowhere to be seen. Right, he said something about an errand in the morning. Hope he'll be back soon from whatever he's doing. My stomach rumbles and aches. I really need to eat something soon. All I've eaten since I got here was the dry bread. It's been days since I've had an actual meal, but the twisting in my gut reminds me of a more immediate concern. Looking around, I spot a door opposite the entrance. Please tell me there's a toilet in there. Great! Found it! Yay! That's very skibbity. It's an outhouse-style toilet, but nicer. There's a stone wall topped with a wooden counter, and a round lid in the middle of it. There's a table on the right with a block of soap, closed pitcher, hand towel, and a bowl. The room smells pretty bad. I don't want to use it, but I really need to go. Well, there was some air freshener to cover up the smell. With no other choice, I venture inside and seal the door behind me. I'll try to make this quick. Oh, Open the lid. A wave of stench hits me almost immediately. When I open the lid, the stench within hits me almost instantly. Covering my nose, I feel like I'm about to throw up from the smell of manure clogging up my nostrils. With my nose screaming for mercy, I breathe through my mouth instead. I try to keep my breathing low so as to not take in too much of this air. That's literally what this is. This is just a fucking hole in the ground. But fancy. I'm going to pass out if I take much longer. Averting my gaze from the hole's contents, I drop my pants to the floor and sit over it. The wooden seat is coarse under my legs. I have to hold it to keep it from falling in. I don't like holding it very much. The sensation of a new limb makes me quiver. I'll just have to ignore it if I ever want to escape this room. An elevated hole in the ground. The difference is that it's fancy, yeah. It took a while to get comfortable, but I'm done. Next to the toilet is a basket of large leaves. I would prefer toilet paper, but they'll have to do. Finishing up, I put back the lid. I have to bail out of the room at this point, but I still need to wash my hands. The pitcher is full of water, and after pouring some into the bowl, I wash my hands with the provided soap. The soap is hard and doesn't lather, but since it's all I've got, it's going to have to be good enough. I dry my hands with the small towel. It's not particularly absorbent, so the fur on my hands remains wet. That's not Skibbity. Stepping back into the kitchen and sealing the stink behind the door, I wipe my hands on my shirt to finish drying them. Then I take a deep breath of fresh, stench-free air. My stomach reminds me that I've still not eaten yet, so I help myself to the kitchen to see what I can find. Check the pot, the oven, everywhere I can think of, but aside from the hanging spices, there doesn't seem to be anything. There isn't even any more of that rock-hard bread from yesterday. Rock bread. I will be right back. I'm back. There isn't even any more of that rock-hard bread from yesterday. Isn't this kitchen too small for someone as big as Agnar? I mean, it works for me, but I can't really imagine him living here. He had just ducked to get through the main door frame upstairs, not to mention he probably has to go up the stairs sideways given how narrow they are. Oh, haha, very funny. Hiya. I hear the sound of the front door and I turn around expecting to see him again. It's you. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where is it? you, bratty bottom fox bitch. I may not know martial arts, but I know whoop yo ass. No, he didn't enter the wrong house. He entered the wrong life. Yeah, he's cute. I will give him that. He is cute. He is cute. I'll give him that. Instead of the wolf, I see a familiar-looking fox come in.
Hello there, my good sir. You must be the lion that Sir Agnar was telling me about.
It's the fox. The fox I was looking for is right in front of me. You. Try to quickly grab him, but the fox barely evades me, ducking away and trying to put distance between us by standing on the opposite side of the table.
What in the heavens are you?
I'm not letting you get away this time. The fox and I run around the table, always on opposite ends as we fake each other out, trying to control the distance between us. I'm about to climb over the table and tackle him when the wolf returns and closes the door behind him. Lord Mikkel. Is it Mikkel or Michael? Just gonna go with Mikkel. Lord Mikkel, I told you to...
Sir Agnar, help!
The fox dashes behind the big wolf, his tail barely escaping my grasp as he rushes past me. That's the fox! Grab him!
You're the one attacking me! I've never seen you in my life.
Quiet! The big wolf's commanding shout silences the room. As much as I want to grab the fox, there's no one getting past the giant guarding him. Agnar takes a deep breath as he adjusts his posture. Both of you, calm down. Nobody is going to be grabbing anyone. We are all going to stay calm. Yeah, okay, Agnar. I'll stay calm. I don't know how to do a deep, nerdy voice. Oh, given the Pop's voice?
It's time to drink water.
That's what I'm hearing, given the Pop's voice.
It's time to drink
Agnar,
water.
he stole our phone that
It's time to drink
contains,
water.
certain
It's time to drink
images from the Funny Blue website. You know. What is it called? I can't remember it. MSG. Nobody's going to be grabbing anyone. We're all going to stay calm. The two of you... Monosodium glutamate, thank you. The two of you causing a ruckus will only draw more attention, which is the last thing we need right now. The wolf looks pointedly at me before his eyes turn to the fox. Lord Mikkel, this is Aaron. Aaron, this is Lord Mikkel. Of the Vedskogen family. Vedskogen? Now with the introductions out of the way, I know you went to the cave again without telling me. Why did you think it was wise to go alone? I specifically told you to stay away from the forbidden cave until after the hunt was over. The Yachtmark hunt is less than 2 weeks away. Dozens of participants are already scouting the forest in preparation for it. If anyone had seen you or even suspected you were going to the cave, you could have been arrested, especially if they figure out what you've been doing these past few months. You know what? I'm going to give 2 voice options. Real quick, and you can decide between them.
But I'm so close to unraveling how Sylving powers works. I just need more.
But I'm so close to unraveling how Sylving powers work. I just need more. You can choose. The first one? Okay.
I just need...
No excuses! I know you snatched something from the Sylving right in front of them. Even if you haven't been caught, it's evident that you're not being careful when you go to their world. Not only were you spotted, but you let him into our world, and now he's unable to return home.
The Sylving's here? Now? Where?
He's right here. Agnar gestures to me and the fox stares at me in disbelief.
You mean this lion is the Sylving?
People are also saying the second one. You mean this lion is the Sylving? Without a doubt, he was confused when he woke up. His clothing is nothing seen within the whole kingdom, and he headed straight for the cave the moment I left him alone. Mikkel takes a step closer, regarding me curiously. From what I gathered, he turned into a lion after coming to our world. I tended to his fevered body for over a day, and then had to practically interrogate him because you never came and told me what happened. Okay, we're gonna stick with the Pop's voice. When I was passing the bridge, an elderly cat told me she saw a Sylving run out of the forest the day before. Plenty of other people could have seen him. Who knows what would have happened if I hadn't found him first. Is the ability to change form normal for them? I have never heard of their kind being able to do such a thing. There was nothing like this in my research as I was there. Could you please stop talking as if I'm not here? I have ears. My apologies. It's just, this is remarkable. To think that a Sylving can transform their body to look like an ordinary deer. What an incredible discovery. Lord Mikkel, now's not the time for that. This is serious. Because Aaron was too scared to trust me, I made the mistake of leaving him unattended and uninformed. He left the house dressed like this and walked through the marketplace in broad daylight. Everyone is now aware of the newcomer. But him looking like a lion is fortunate for us. It makes this easier for us to handle. However, if anyone figures out what he really is, we'll be hunted down for using magic and traveling between worlds. Hunted? You mean I'll be killed just for being here? It will never come to that, I assure you. Aside from an elderly woman's claims. There's been no word of Sylving on the streets. We should be safe for now. That's why we need to get you home as soon as possible before anyone discovers the truth. Lord Mikkel will retrieve his cloak, and I'll need to figure out a way to get you out of town unnoticed. You know what? I'm going to make a poll. Y'all will decide. Nerd or Pops. Because I can do either, and it's a lot of fun. Because I'm confused on which voice to do. I don't really care which one because both fit him. Both fit him really well. Oh fuck, someone's rigging the vote. Oh my god. It's almost as if we have had the same thing happen to us in multiple lives several times over. Oh shit. And we're gonna stick with the nerd voice. We're gonna use the nerd voice. That poll is a war. It is.
That might be a problem.
How about this? How about this? I'm going to stick with the nerd voice, but in random funny moments, I will switch to the Pops voice. How about that? I don't like the sound of that.
The gates, that is to say, the cave, will not let us pass through them without a relic.
A relic?
I was wearing a red cloak when we first met. Do you remember it?
Don't tell me you've lost it.
No, not quite. I have it on me, actually, but...
He reaches into his satchel and pulls out the wine-red cloak that he was wearing back at my cave.
When I was running away, a piece got torn off. I'm afraid that without it, the cloak is incomplete and won't work.
I recognize the missing shape immediately. I dig around in my pocket, withdrawing the scrap I'd pulled from the bush. You mean this? Mikkel's eyes light up and he snatches it from my hands in a flash.
This is it! You found it!
Thank the gods!
With this, we just need to have it mended.
He's smiling and wagging his tail. The fox is practically hopping from foot to foot, unable to stay still.
If I go home now, my nanny can reattach it in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't recommend that. If she realizes it's a relic, she might tell your father and he'd put you under house arrest for the rest of your life.
No need to fret. She's mended just about everything I've worn since I was a kid. Even costumes. This will be no different to her. We should be able to get you back in no time. Today, even.
The fox is about to leave, but suddenly turns around.
Oh, I almost forgot. My apologies for taking it from you. I only meant to have a look. If I had my wits about me, I'd have simply dropped it as I ran. I didn't even realize I was still holding it until I made it home.
He reaches his hand into his satchel, digging around in it before pulling out something familiar. My phone! He hands it to me, turning it over. It's seemingly undamaged aside from a few scratches on the screen. Hope it still works.
I must excuse myself for now. I'll be back as soon as I can, perhaps. Then you'll be amenable to answering a few questions.
I give a dry laugh. I won't be here for much longer, so I might as well hear them. You know what? Sure. Yay! Mikkel beams with a bright smile, turning out the door and practically leaping through it. He sure is... a lot. Forgive him. Lord Mikkel is nothing if not full of a lust of knowledge. He's not a bad person, but his lordship's curiosity can get the better of him. Now that that's taken care of, I have to go fetch something. I'll be back soon. Wait. Can I have something to eat? I'm really hungry. Right, you must be starved, and there isn't really anything to eat or cook here. Alright, I know someone who's always ready with a meal. How do you feel about stew? Fuck is... That was concerning. It's a hearty meat and vegetable soup, and the one he makes is the best. Stew sounds great. Good. I'll be back soon. With a nod, Agnar steps out of the door. I found the fox, or, well, he found me, got my phone back, and if what he says about the cloak is true, I'll be back home tonight. Looking around, I realize very quickly that I have nothing to pass the time with. Probably should get myself cleaned up. It's been days and I've neither changed clothes nor washed myself. I fetch the water bowl, cloth, and soap from the other room and place them on the dinner table. Then I proceed to dress down. Soaking the cloth in the soapy water, I start with an arm first to test how to clean myself with all this fur. This is going to go back to normal, right? I'll just step through my side and shed it all off. Okay. Why wouldn't it work both ways? And even if I pass out again, I'll have my phone on me and can just call for help when I come to. Soapy fur feels really weird, but I do my best to scrub myself down, determined to get rid of 2 days worth of odor. Wow, rinsing out fur is harder than I thought it would be. Next, I use the unused half of the cloth to pat myself dry with. After a short while, I give up halfway, the makeshift towel having given its all. Cleaning was one thing, but drying is even harder. The moist fur feels rather uncomfortable, but at least the odor's weaker. Finally feeling refreshed, I put my clothes back on. They still smell, but it's not like I have anything else to wear. The claws rip through my t-shirt as I pull it down, leaving little holes around the chest. Great! Just what I needed! Letting out a weak grunt, I try to stay positive and move on. I step to the window and look through the shutters, wondering if the big wolf's nearby. The openings are so narrow and the glass so uneven that everyone outside looks more like vague blobs than anything else. Just then, Agnar comes back and holding a cloth-covered pot in one arm and a big burlap sack draped over the other. Oh, hi. Welcome back. What are you doing? Just trying to spot you on your way back. Not much else to do while waiting. Made it a lot easier by coming in, though. Agnar shows a subtle smirk, putting the pot onto the table and the sack on the floor. And oh my. He digs through the cabinets underneath the window, retrieving bowls and spoons before setting on the table. I pull up a chair and sit down. Agnar readies a label before pulling the cloth off the pot. The smell of meat and vegetables hits my nose, and my mouth immediately begins to water. That back sprite got me acting up. I hope that is to your liking. He finished making this just before I arrived, so it's still hot. If it tastes half as good as it smells, then I already know I'm going to want seconds. Agnar ladles out a large portion for me. The stew looks even more enticing as he sets it in front of me. He then takes a seat on the bench across from me, looking content. The stew is just how I expected, with meat and veggies floating in thick brown broth. The only surprise are little chunks of blue mushroom. Get a spoonful with each different kinds of chunks in it, carefully balancing it as I find my mouth. When the taste hits my tongue, I'm impressed by the zesty flavor. I can taste meat and something like garlic, and the rich broth is enhanced by the perfect touch of salt. The meat is savory, and I can already feel it warming my bones. I can even taste something close to pepper in the seasonings, but it's mellower than I'm used to. Even the odd blue mushrooms are quite nice, having an earthy sweetness to it. Taking another spoonful, I can feel myself coming back to life from the incredible taste. I don't think I've ever had stew this good before. I'm so hungry that anything would taste great at this point, but this stew is undoubtedly amazing. By the third bite, though, I can feel something trickling down my chin. The broth drips to the table. I was so entranced by the taste that I didn't even notice that it's been leaking out from the sides of my muzzle. Try to wipe it off with my hands, but it ends up just smearing all over my hands as well. I can feel my face turning red with embarrassment. Can't even eat my food without looking like a 2-year-old. Here, use this. He hands me the rag that was used to cover the pot. I dry off my hands and chin first before cleaning the table with it. Don't worry about the mess. It can happen at times. I finish cleaning off the table and look back up at him, still feeling pretty self-conscious. I take it that you like the dish, seeing how much you enjoyed it. Yeah, it's really good. You're right, Agnar. I've never had stew as good as this before. Told you. It's the best in the land. It's the best, period. I hear a loud growling sound coming from Agnar. First I thought it was his voice making that sound, but it came from his stomach. That's when I realized that his bowl was completely empty. Aren't you going to have some? I'll eat when you've had your fill. Don't worry about me. I feel bad for not waiting for him. Glad to get some food in me, but not if I'm the only one eating. It would be nice to eat the stew with you rather than taking turns. Besides, there's no way I can eat all of this. I'd actually prefer it if you had some yourself. I told you, I'll wait. Wolf grimaces, looking clearly embarrassed as the groaning protest comes back even stronger. No matter what he was able to say, he can't argue with his own body. I look at him with a grin, seeing how troubled he looks, and point my wooden spoon at his belly. You'd better listen to us and eat before it gets any louder. Thank you for your kindness. Agnar ladles a generous portion into his own bowl and dives in. I hold my bowl close to my mouth and fish out the remaining chunks to eat. The broth is delicious, but I don't want a repeat of it dripping out my mouth. Usually I wouldn't be this reserved, but I'm not used to eating with this alien face yet. Still, I managed to not spill any more of the stew, so that's a win. Now all that's left is to enjoy the meal. Thank you for letting me eat with you. It's an honor to share a meal with a higher being like yourself. I cover my mouth, nearly spitting out my stew. I swallow hard and give a small cough to keep myself from laughing. A higher being? Me? You're a Sylving, said to be one of the most mysterious beings and with great powers, who helped our kind when we needed it most centuries ago. Lord Mikkel has told me about the many magical tools he's seen in your world during his expeditions, like the metal carriages that travel at great speed along the black roads, or the black mirrors your kind carries around. He told me you touch and talk through them, that they convey special meanings through strange sounds. Those are cars and phones are pretty common in my world. I'm not a Sylving, I'm a human. What's a human? Well, what's a Sylving? Do you know what they look like? Sylvings are shown in old illustrations and described as having little to no hair aside from their head. They also have a flat muzzle and small round ears on the side of their heads. Lord Mikkel has described it as such as well when going beyond the gate, so there's no doubt that's how they look like. That's what humans look like. I see. Perhaps we simply have a different word for your kind. Maybe. It's a funny word, though. So does your kind bless items with your magic to make them work? No, that's just technology. They're made by many people who simply improved upon what we had over time. They're really advanced, sure, but there wasn't any magic involved in making them. Then how do you make these creations if not by magic? You know what? Yes, we use magic. With wires, circuit boards, programming, plastic, and electricity. It's made of many different things put together depending on the machine. I just want to point out, it's basically magic. It's basically magic, because here's the thing. We managed to put electricity in a fucking rock and made it think. At this point, I'm convinced that witches are real. I'm convinced... Let me rephrase that. I'm convinced that, like, magic is real. In the wise words of Cave Johnson, science without results is witchcraft. Get results or get fired. Fucking... The guy who did the rant about lemons and making explosive lemons that he's going to mail to your home. Agnar has a perplexed look on his face. Not that I blame him. I'm not sure how to explain this to someone from a place without electronics. The point is that I'm not a higher being. I'm just some normal guy with no powers like anyone else where I'm from. Then how did your kind come to our world and grant us great powers back then? Do you know how to remove them? 3 days ago, I didn't even know your world existed, much less anything to do with great powers. I'm sorry, but this is all new to me. I apologize for jumping to conclusions. We still have much to learn about your world, and it was difficult for me to believe that this technology was made without some sort of great power. But if that's the case, then... Wolf ladles himself another bowl, his eyes looking a little distant as he eats, like he's lost in thought. A few minutes go by, and silence between us goes on for some time. Since I'm heading home soon, I can't think there would be any harm in striking up a more casual conversation. Hey, Agnar? Hmm? You're not carrying that big sword you had on yesterday. It's kind of hard to miss. That's my broadsword. I only wear it when I leave the village. So you're a warrior of some sort? Mercenary, to be specific. I normally take on many different jobs. Everything from guarding caravans to hired muscle. Well, you've sure got plenty of muscle to hire. Do you get a lot of work then? I usually get enough. It's important to be versatile and capable. There's a notice board where people put up requests in exchange for money. That's where I'd usually earn my coin. You wouldn't believe some of the jobs I've gotten roped into. Like what? You'd probably find them rather dull. Lord Mikkel has told me many things about your world. My stories must dwarf in comparison. Listen to his stories or don't ask him. I kind of want to listen to them. Because it's probably a lot more interesting than anything we got going on. Yeah, we're going to listen to it. Too late, now you've got me curious. Who knows how long it'll take Mikkel to get back. Hearing some stories would make for a good distraction. Alright, if you insist, I can tell you a story or two. He recounts a few of his adventures, how he would meet different races from far away, wearing different outfits and transporting all sorts of strange products in their wagon. One time he was hired to help move barrels in a wine cellar along with 2 others. One of them went missing halfway into the job and they couldn't find him. Turned out that he had snuck into one of the barrels in the deepest part of the cellar to take a sip without anyone noticing. He was found in a half-drained barrel, drunk as one could be and with no intention of leaving his bathtub of wine. The guy didn't get paid, of course. While he still gets work, most are wise enough to not let him near any alcohol. It becomes something of an in-joke with other mercenaries. Agnar then tells me about the time he was hired to hunt a couple of animals called speaks for the butcher, as he was running low on meat at the time. But when he returned to the butcher, he was carrying an entire ook on his back instead, as he had lucked across it in the woods. I'm guessing speaks and ooks are this world's equivalent of hogs and moose. Ooks are rarely seen this close to a settlement, as they prefer staying higher up in the mountains, which is why they're highly valued by nobles for their meat and fur. Agnar still has to go back for the speaks, but the butcher was happy about the ook that he gifted a big chunk of its meat to Agnar. But not all employers are easy to please, as he was once hired to train a young man in swordplay in just 2 scant weeks. The clients were the boy's parents, who had hoped some physical training would help their son to become more disciplined. He knew the basics, but was too impatient to learn other fundamental skills, making it difficult for Ragnar to teach him. He would go all out in every session, making wild swings and flashy attacks that would leave him wide open. When Agnar told him about the mistake and how to improve, he would be told how bad he was at training him. In the end, he was paid only half the agreed-upon fee, and berated for how much Agnar critiqued the swordplay. If I had to train someone like that, I would have given up on the second day. A week later, it came out that his family, who had enough of his behavior, had sent him off to the army. Agnar wasn't the first to train him, and the other teachers had gotten the same results. Thankfully, Agnar was given the rest of his payment, so it ended well enough for him. He lets out a sigh, saying that he's not angry, he just wished he could have done more for him. Bro thought he was Link. Which Link? There's like hundreds. Breath of the Wild Link. Breath of the Wild Link. That one. The hero of the wild. He just wished he could have done more for him. I hope the guy learns not to be such a jerk to his tutors. Agnar is being way too forgiving towards him, in my opinion. He lets go of the conversation, so we just enjoy the meal before it gets cold. I finish up my bowl. I feel much better now with a belly full of warm food. Agnar is finishing off his 3rd bowl. Not surprising. Someone his size needs to get plenty to eat. Mikkel's still not back, so I pull out my phone to check if it still works. Swipe the screen with my thumb, accidentally scratching it with my claw and leaving a rather noticeable gash. Darn it, I need to be super careful with these claws if I still want to have a phone after all of this. There's no signal, so internet, call, and text are a no-go. At least the screen turned on. The battery is now half empty. Not bad for without charging for 3 days. Checking the camera, it looks like everything's working fine. Glance up at Agnar as he finishes his last bowl. Is it alright if I take a photo of you? Photo? Photo. A picture. Why would you start painting before leaving? It'll take too long to finish. No, not exactly. Wave my phone around, which Agnar regards curiously. My phone can make one in a second. I'm pretty sure it's the black mirror Mikkel we're talking about. So just act natural and smile for the camera. It won't hurt, will it? Don't worry, it's harmless. I just want to have something to remember this place by. And you want to make one of me? I'm flattered, but I'm not worthy of such a thing. There are better uses for your photo magic. Well, you're the first incredible thing I saw when I woke up here. To me, that is worth remembering. The wolf looks flustered. His eyes light up and he grins from ear to ear. His tail wags behind him, thumping against the wooden bench. Seeing him smile so innocently, I can't help but think how cute he is. A cute big wolf man. I hold up my phone and quickly snap a picture. Perfect, this turned out great. What, already? Yep, that's it. Oh. Huh. Something wrong? Not wrong per se, I was just expecting something more otherworldly to happen. Sorry, but it's just a phone. These weren't made to be all that grand when using them. But the picture looks great. Here, have a look. I have returned! The front door flies open, the fox entering with a swing in his step. Welcome back, Lord Mikkel. I trust you bear good news.
Take a look and see for yourself.
With a flourish, she pulls out the cloak and proudly presents it to us.
She mended it perfectly. You can't even tell it was torn to begin with.
Good. Then all that's left is to return to the cave safely without drawing attention to ourselves.
And we'll have our Sylving friend back to his people in no time.
Again, I'm right here. My name is Aaron, not Sylving.
All right, Aaron, pardon me. It's my first time actually talking to your kind. But before you leave, could you tell us how your kind traveled through the gates the first time? Give me a better understanding for my next trip.
My lord, you need to show more consideration. He needs to leave before anyone realizes what he is.
But now may be our only chance to actually ask one directly. If we intend to help solve the great conflict in our world, we need to learn more about their powers. I know you want this just as much as I do.
And you promised not to drag anyone into this, and look what happened.
I did not drag Aaron here. He chased me. There's a difference.
Agnar lets out a grunt of frustration. Even though Mikkel is technically correct, it doesn't change the fact that I'm here because of him. I have no clue what you mean by powers and gates and all that. I'm pretty sure nobody else from my world does either.
Why do you say that? Your world is filled with all sorts of magical artifacts. You must know something.
If people were turning into lines back home, I wouldn't have gotten a heart attack just from seeing you guys.
Perhaps you unconsciously used one of your many powers when you crossed the veil.
Listen, I can't answer these questions when I don't even know what's going on. I'm just so tired of this, and I just want things to go back to normal. Just let me go home, please. Agnar walks over to get the sack on the floor. Mikkel looks away sheepishly and stays quiet. We should strive to return before it gets dark. Now's the best time to depart. Aaron, here's what we're going to do. You'll get in this sack and remain as still and silent as possible. I will carry you to the cave. It's best to stay out of sight. The more others see you, the more you'll pique their curiosity and they might start spreading rumors. Even though there will be more people about in the afternoon, traveling at night is a lot more conspicuous, not to mention dangerous. Lord Mikkel and I are supposed to be helping with the preparations for the hunt. We'll use that as an excuse for the trip, since going to the forest is expected. Going to the forest is expected of us. I know being carried around in an old sack isn't exactly pleasant, but it really is our best option right now. It has a strong smell, so that should be able to help cover your scent. Gets me home tonight, I'll manage. Grab your things and the blanket off the bed, and we'll depart at once. I head up and back down, quickly gathering everything I need. Having donned his sword, Agnar takes the blanket and uses it to line the inside of the sack, then holds it open at my feet. The sack's kind of easy to see through on its own. This will obscure onlookers' vision, and smooth out the impression your body makes it so it's less obvious someone's inside. Hopefully it'll be more comfortable for you too. I step inside and look up at him. Now a bit uneasy about the whole thing. Now, you curl yourself up and remember, be still. Make sure you're in a comfortable position before we leave. I'll try not to make it too rough for you on the way, but you're going to have to tough it out. Curling up, I can see the blanket wrap around me, before being hefted up over the wolf's shoulder. My heart skips a beat when I feel how high up I am now. I really hope he keeps a firm grip. I don't want to fall to the hard ground from way up here. Are you ready, Aaron? I fidget and settle, trying to find a comfy spot, then pull the unruly tail up against my belly. As ready as I'll ever be. And you, Lord Mikkel?
I am Sir Agnar.
When he opens the door, I can hear the hustle and bustle of the streets. I should have taken a picture of the town before leaving, but it's too late now. I sway from side to side in the sack, bumping into a sword now and again. Agnar notices this and pulls me up slightly, making me rest closer against his body and sway less. Lord Wolf! We come to a sudden stop, and I don't know who this gravelly voice belongs to, but I can tell he's an old man.
It's time to drink water.
Good morning.
It's time to drink water.
Old lion roughly, like a potato.
It's time to drink
yes.
water. It's time to drink water.
Good afternoon.
Gare, wasn't that the turtle guy I met yesterday? I thought you was already in the woods, Wolf. What held you up? I've been tending to a traveler. I found him in poor condition 2 days ago and needed to ensure his recovery. You mean that twitchy lion with the odd clothes? I saw him the other day. Yep, it's the turtle guy, all right. He was looking at me with them big ol' eyes. Bigger than what... than what Mrs. Dunn got. Well, those who don't know you might find your appearance alarming, my good sir. Oh, sure. Ain't my first time hearing that. But tell me, if you's taking care of piddly fella, why's you's both heading to the woods? We can't neglect our duties. The outsiders are grown dear. He can take care of himself for a few hours.
You have to ensure the forest is safe for the hunt. My family would tan my hide if anything were to happen to the contestants this year.
I see. Sir, what you got in that sack? Tools needed for our excursion. Bait, traps, boundary markers, ropes. Shouldn't you be leaving the creatures be till the hunt starts? I'm just doing my job, Gare.
Speaking of, we need to get moving. We're losing precious daylight chatting away here.
Don't mean to hold you up. Just keeping an eye on the cat. I can tell he's the kind who brings trouble, I tells ya. I don't know. We'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
It was a pleasure talking with you, Mr. Gare. Hope to see you again soon.
I hope not. If you says so. Good luck in the forest. Finally, that interrogation was starting to unnerve me. After a while, the sounds of civilization have all faded away. Only the twittering of birds and the rustle of breeze accompany our footsteps as we trek once again into the woods. Thank you. I'm not going to use it. But thank you. I appreciate it. You can't see, but I'm holding up a heart. I'm not going to use it. Yeah, Twitch would doubt it. After a while, the sounds of civilization have all faded away. Only the twittering of birds and the rustle of the breeze accompany our footsteps as we trek once again into the woods. I give Agnar a poke through the sack and whisper, "Can I come out now?" "Not yet. We're out on the open road. Someone could still see us, even if we might not see them." "Hold out just a little longer, Aaron. It's not much farther to the forest." He walks on for a while longer before taking a sharp turn. Agnar's footing becomes uneven. I hear the crunching of leaves and twigs, so he must be off the beaten path. Another few minutes and... Alright, we've arrived. The wolf comes to a stop, lowering me back to the ground. I almost forgot which way was up after being crammed in that bag for so long. Yeah. Which... Sorry if I offended anyone. I'm so sorry. Springing out of the sack like a jack-in-the-box, I lift my arms high overhead and stretch to the fullest. Finally! Staying still like that was not as easy as I thought it would be! Lowering my arms, we exchange 3 perplexed looks. So, what do we do now?
I'm glad you asked. I will enter the cave first while wearing the cloak, at which point it will align itself with the natural magic of the cave, just like how the witches of old...
So you just go in there and it opens.
It's a lot more complex than that, but yes. Magic is very delicate, however. You'll have to wait out here until you see a light blue glow emanating from the tunnel. The cloak will open the gate between worlds, but not until I've reached the clearing. That glow will be your signal to enter. Wait here with Sir Agnar. This will only take a moment.
Bitch! The fox drapes himself in his cloak and scurries into the entrance, leaving Agnar and myself standing by the entrance. I roll my shoulders and let out a sigh of relief. It's definitely been an adventure, but I'm very eager to get home. I glance at Agnar, who's staring into the cave. Have you been there before, to my world? I have not. I've only heard Lord Mikkel's descriptions of what it's like, but it's difficult to understand any of it. Yeah. My task here is usually just to make sure Lord Mikkel is able to come and go without being seen. Warding off nosy passerby, giving him an excuse to be in the forest, that sort of thing. Besides, the cloak only hides its wearer. I'd be too great a liability to bring with. The cloak can also hide someone? How does that work? That's what makes something a witch's relic. It's imbued with magic by a witch that once owned it. This one has the power to make its wearer unnoticeable. If one were to notice his presence, he'll appear as nothing more than a vague blur for a second before disappearing completely. At most, people will think they're just seeing things. So that's why I've never heard anything about him back home. People couldn't see him. Until you, that is. Somehow he managed to see through the illusion. Could it be because I was in the cave already when he opened it? I cannot say. I wasn't taught much about magic or relics, but it sounds plausible. Something's not right. There's still no light coming from the tunnel. Maybe it takes time to start up like a computer? A what? Never mind, bad example. I've watched him do this many times before, and it never took this long. We'd better go inside. He hurries in with me following shortly behind. Once inside, we can see Mikkel feeling and examining the wall on the far side of the cave. Why is the gate not open yet?
I don't know. It will usually take effect by the time I reach this tree. But now, there's nothing.
He looks around, his eyes moving to me, then the tree, then back to the walls.
I have a theory coming to mind right now that might explain this appearance. But if true, it'd prove quite the problem.
I swallow nervously, not liking where this is going. That being...
In my studies about witch relics, learned that enchanted items could be understood like a vessel that contains magic. Imagine a sealed bottle holding a precious liquid. When the cork is removed, the liquid can escape. Similarly, when the cloak was damaged, it's possible the power stored within leaked out as well.
I can feel dread deep in my stomach, holding my arms tight around myself. You mean to say that there's no magic left in it? Why didn't you mention this sooner?
I thought it would still work if the torn seams were rewoven. I can see now that my assumptions were flawed. This is very likely no longer witch's relic, just an ordinary old cloak.
Does that mean I'm trapped here? Of course not. This is only a minor setback. There are other witch relics out there. Any one of them has the power to open the gates, no matter how simple the enchantment. We just need to acquire a new one. Are there any that you know of that we can use?
Not as of yet. I was already extremely lucky to find this one. If I'm diligent, I should be able to find another one in only a few years, and...
Years?
That came out wrong. It meant it might take a significant amount of time before I can get a new relic. If we're lucky.
If? What do you mean, if?
You don't know how incredibly difficult it is to find them. Those who own one won't tell anyone about it because they're outlawed. They can be dangerous if in the wrong paws.
You mean like yours? Why would you even have one if you knew it was illegal?
Now, wait just a minute. I did it because we need to know the truth about what your kind did to us 600 years ago.
Agnar pulls him to the side. Meanwhile, I'm clenching my hands and holding them to my chest. But it's not helping. These claws keep stabbing me as I try to close them over and over, denying me any release of tension. My grief and frustration swirl together in a vortex of emotion. Exactly. My sense of powerlessness and rage fuel one another in an endless feedback loop. I think I'm going to throw up. Lord Mikkel, you need to understand the situation you put him in. He's lost his only way back. You shouldn't speak so dismissively about it.
I thought he would understand. I don't even know what the big deal is. Sylvings can live for centuries. Staying a couple extra years should mean nothing to him.
My only way back home. Gone. Is this what nothing looks like to you? Because of your carelessness, you've dragged him from his home to our world, which he didn't even know existed. Why did I have to meet him in the cave?
Bringing him here was not my intention. This black mirror was right there. He was sleeping. I just had to figure out if it could help us in some way.
You just a lot of things. You just had to go to the Forbidden Cave without telling me. You saw him and just had to look at his belongings without even trying to be careful. So stop treating it like it's just an accident and start taking this more seriously. What the fuck? Aaron? You... fucking bastard! Lord Mikkel, take cover behind me. This is your fault. I'm stuck here because of you! If you just left me alone, none of this would have happened. Aaron, you need to calm down. No! Shut up! I've had it! Nothing's gone right ever since I met that stupid fox in this fucking cave. Why couldn't you just left me behind, Mikkel? Why do I have to be the one that pays for your stupid mistake? Because of you, I'm trapped in this backwater madhouse for who knows how long. I can't even tell anyone back home where I am. What are people going to think happened to me? Nobody will find me, and my family will think I'm dead because I'm literally on a different fucking planet. If your stupid ass hadn't come here, I wouldn't look at this. I've got a freaking tail. That's not normal. None of this is normal. Aaron, if only you hadn't come here, I wouldn't have chased you because apparently I'm a fucking idiot. If only I chased him like an idiot. I slumped to my knees, my sight drowned out by the tears as the weight of reality presses down on me. I bury my face in my hands, hunched over the ground, crying my heart out. I'm so angry with myself. I knew something was strange from the moment I left the cave. There was no way huge forest mountains and all other things could have been there. I saw strange twisted purple trees that on my way out that I've never seen before and just ignored it. have been so easy to just turn around, get a new phone, and be home already. But no. I had to keep going. Despite all the red flags, just because I wanted my phone back. Now I'm stuck here. What am I supposed to do now? Take a long breath, slowly raising my head to meet their gaze. I feel heavy after crying for so long. Mikkel and Agnar stare at me, clearly uncomfortable. They haven't said anything this whole time. I give a hard sniff as I taste a salty dribble of snot reach my lips. I wipe my sweater arm across my face, sniffling again and letting out a long, uneven groan.
Aaron, I didn't mean to let this happen. I was blinded by my fascination with your world and my mission to understand its magic and the relics. And in my haste, I have taken you from your home. It was a mistake, but that's no excuse. From the bottom of my heart, I truly apologize for doing you wrong. I will make this right.
You should come with us back to the house where it's safe. Agnar drops down to one knee, offering me his hand. Here, take my paw. I stared at her for a moment, hesitating before taking it and letting him pull me back to my feet. I'm curled up facing the wall below the window. My mind is swimming with so many thoughts. It's been hours since we got back, but the pit in my stomach's still there. Agnar came up once to give me what was left of the stew. He heated it up for me, but it's long gone cold. I don't have much of an appetite. I was given a new blanket as the old one had gotten dirty from the trip. I can pick out a few words whenever Mikkel and Agnar raise their voices downstairs, but not enough to understand what they were saying. My mind keeps going back to that white light in the cave. What was that? Did it come from me? That actually was me. What would have happened if I didn't stop? What if I couldn't have stopped? What if I hadn't wanted to? My list of questions have multiplied from there. Just what even am I at this point? Can I even call myself human anymore? But I'm not a deer either. This isn't me. I can hear the front door open and close, followed by the sound of Agnar's heavy footsteps coming up the stairs. Are you still awake, Aaron? His voice is still gruff, but his tone is very soft from behind the door. Let's say it's too late at night to talk, but it's not like I'm able to sleep either. I uttered a weak grunt, slumping over to sit by the edge of the bed. I barely registered the cold when my feet touched the wooden floor. Yeah. The wolf glances around the room for a moment, looking hesitant. He walks up next to me, gesturing on to the other end of the bed. Can I sit here? Sure. He turns and sits down, the bed slowly creaking as the mattress sinks under his weight. His chest swells slowly as he takes a long breath before letting it out through his nose. Aaron, I can only imagine what you're going through right now. It must be a lot to bear. I'm so sorry for what I did back in the cave. When he started to glow, I reached for my sword without thinking. Instead of taking control of the situation, I got scared and only made it worse. I'm sorry too, for lashing out on you in the cave. I don't even know what happened. I was just so angry, like, that was all I could think of. I promised to help you, that I wouldn't let you come to harm. Agnar turns his head away from me, looking ashamed and at a loss for words. He looks more upset with himself than I could ever be. No, I get it. What happened in the cave was stressful. I mean, if it was the other way around and someone started shouting and glowing right in front of me, I'll probably start running or throwing things. That still doesn't excuse what I did. I was trained to be better. That shouldn't have been my immediate reaction. I won't lie though, it was very scary. I've never had a weapon pointed at me before. But I'm not going to hold it against you. You apologized, so I can't stay mad at you. Besides, getting a sword shoved in my face isn't even the craziest thing that's happened to me so far. That's a big fat lie. I was scared as hell to get cut by it, but I'm playing it off as if it's nothing. That's kind of you to say. Still, I wish I'd done more. never considered the possibility that Mikkel might bring someone back through the cave, intentionally or not. I should have tried harder to really make him understand the risks involved in visiting your world. I knew he was driven, but I thought he had more self-control. And because of that, you're here. My eyes wander around the dark room, settling on my sweater and satchel on the floor. Yeah. I'm here. I can feel the weight of his paws as it settles on my back. The shape and size are both strange to me, but at the same time it puts me at ease. His eyes meet mine. His amber irises have a gleam of warmth to them. You'll be alright. I'll make sure you stay safe until the day we open the gates again. He doesn't say a word as he keeps his hand on my back, rubbing it in a slow rhythm. I can feel the scritches from his claws through the shirt. It feels nice. Ooh, stream did not like that. He sets his paw back in his lap, holding a soft smile. Kind of wish he'd continue holding his hand to my back, but it was enough to make me feel a little better. Lord Mikkel and I have been talking, and you're welcome to live in this house as long as you're here. He will provide you with everything you may need, and I will be your personal guard while you stay with us. It may take some time to find another relic, but we'll get one, I'm sure of it. But what if I'm found out? You said yourself it would be dangerous if I stay. Should it ever come to that, anyone who may want to harm you would have to go through me. I'll turn them in the Clatrefrank pulp before they even get a strand of fur from your head. We're going to stop it for the ad. We're going to break from the ads. This is beautiful. And we're back. He confidently flexes an arm, showing off his size and strength. He tilts his head in a taunting display, clearly telling me what a would-be assailant would be up against. His sudden bravado catches me off guard, and I smirk back at him. I feel sorry for anyone who dare go up against you, whatever Clatrefrank is. Agnar gives a sly smile and both snicker. I'll be here all night, so feel free to come downstairs if you need anything at all. Whatever you may need, I'll do my best to tend to it. I mean, within reason, of course. There's a lot I can't do, but I'll try my best. Not that I can't do anything. There's plenty of things I can do, just not everything. Seeing him stumble with his words, it's hard not to smile. It's sweet that he's so kind to me, even after what happened today. My chest feels a bit lighter, knowing that he has got my back. What I'm trying to say is, I'm here for you, for whatever you need. You should try and get some sleep now, it's late. Remember, you're always safe here. Wait, Agnar, I just wanted to say thank you for being so nice to me and for helping me so much, even when I'm not a real lion. After everything we caused, I'm just glad to be of help to you. We'll get you home someday, you have my word. I smile as he says that with such confidence. It gives me a bit of hope even if it won't happen anytime soon. Good night, Aaron. Rest well. Good night. We're gonna leave off here tonight. My fucking heart! Why does this menu make me so happy? This menu makes me so happy. I know. I don't know. But I'm happy seeing this. Well, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.